everybody, and welcome back to the Say Yes Anyway podcast. These are conversations from the heart where there's something deep in your heart where you have to say yes to it. I know there's probably something in you. You might not know it yet, but maybe after this episode, you will be inspired. You'll be empowered into action to say yes to that thing that's on your heart. So today I'm really excited because I have my friend Sam here. She's a systems wizard for business owners. She's actually helped me a ton. She's an epic human, and she moved over to Europe after meeting the love of her life during the pandemic. So thank you so much for being here, Sam.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Jess. I'm super excited to be on.
I love it. What do you love about yourself and your life right now?
I think right now, the biggest thing would just be my adaptability. I think I have moving to Europe, of course, is a huge step in anyone's life. And it's been a lot of just navigating what's going to be the best for me, how to also, run a business here. And I think it just really, you need a really open mindset of just kind of resilience and just to be adaptable to everything that comes your way. And yeah, I think especially the past like 6 months or so, I've really been leaning into that even more so than I have ever before. So I think that's definitely the number one thing for me right now.
Wow, that's amazing. I love that adaptability because it's almost like that's a human superpower, or I think of that anyway, because no matter through life, like we all go through hard stuff. We go through challenges, we go through changes, we go through pivots, we go through life's ups and downs and all arounds and things we can't control. And if we're not adaptable, then what the heck are we going to do with stuff that we can't control, you know? So it's like just that in itself is such a gift that I think every human on the planet needs, but not everybody is that way. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean, I think it
amazing.
really requires a sense of like patience and like
Mhm.
trust in yourself, like you really have to develop this, like it is like a relationship with like things you can control and things you can't control, and just trusting yourself to like hold you through that and to figure it out as you go.
That's cool. Well, I've been dying to ask you and figured I'd just ask you here, but because obviously a couple of years ago you were even helping me with my systems and business and in this mastermind, and then you scaled your business to like six figures, and then you decided to go to a 9 to 5, like a whole different route, still keep your business, but more like a side hustle. So I'm just curious about that because I think there are people that think that it's one or the other. Like I need to have my business or I need to have the 9 to 5, or I can't start my business until I leave my 9 to 5, or I have a business. And then if I go to a 9 to 5, then I'm like moving backwards. And so I'm just curious what your process is, what happened, whatever you want to share.
I mean, it's all of the above, basically. I went through, I think, all stages of grief. It really felt like, yeah, a process. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk about it. This is my first time talking about it like publicly, besides on my own podcast. So, and it's been, for context, I have been working in a full-time job since April. So what is this, like almost August? So about 4 months now.
Mm.
And I decided I had been thinking about it for a while. And I think really the deciding factor was at the end of last year, my partner and I, we moved out of our apartment. We were looking for a new apartment. We were kind of, for like about 4 or 5 months, we were traveling quite a lot. We didn't really have like a set place, just kind of living at his parents, or we went to the States at my parents for like 2 months, and we went through Italy. And so we were really living this like freedom, digital nomad lifestyle, which is something I always wanted to try. And that was, the benefit of having an online business that I could do that. And my partner also works pretty much solely online as well. So we were really able to experience that. And I think we were in Italy at the beginning of the year, and I remember just like being so stressed out about the business and also just very like lonely. Like I was sitting there and I was like, I'm literally in Italy. And yeah, I
Mm.
feel so like disconnected from myself. I feel really disconnected from like a sense of community. And like I had been having a hard time finding that, I would say, in the Netherlands since I
Mm,
moved here at the end of 2022. And a huge part of that, the reason I did struggle with that is because I was working completely online. I worked mostly with American clients, which I absolutely loved. You know, all my clients, I loved being a coach and mastermind and meeting so many people. I had a great community of people online, but I struggled to find people in person to really harness like that community. And I missed just day to day interaction. And I feel like I tried to do the co-working spaces and join the networking groups and, do all the things. And I don't know, it just wasn't clicking for me. And then in March, we actually moved to a new city in the Netherlands. So I was living in Amsterdam and now I live in a city called Utrecht, which is a bit smaller than Amsterdam. And I was touring co-working places and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like really try to find my groove in this city. And it just nothing felt right. Like I was just like, this just doesn't feel right. And I feel like this is really an opportunity for me to have a fresh start. And so I'm gonna go see what else is out there. I have never worked in an office before. I've literally been doing an online business since I, left college and started traveling. So I was like, I just feel like this is the next right thing for me. And I definitely went through a lot of phases of like, at first, of course, I grew this successful business. I was making over six figures multiple years in a row. What is everyone going to think of me? What does this make me think about myself? Does this mean I'm a failure? Like I'm quitting? Can I have both? Like I definitely went through, well, I'm gonna have to quit my business if I get a 9 to 5. And then I kind of realized like that's not true. Technically, like no one's gonna make me do that besides myself. So yeah, I really just thought about it and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna apply to some jobs and see what comes up, see what happens.
mm,
And that's what I did. And I applied for a few jobs and I immediately got an interview at one. And it actually went very quickly. Like I think I applied the second week of March and then I was started April 1st, basically. And
wow.
it was honestly just the perfect fit. For as far as what I was looking for. So it's actually funny enough, it's a coaching company, like a consulting company. And I'm doing sales for like the coaching side of the company, which I absolutely love. I mean, it's basically just like doing discovery calls all day, which I personally loved doing that in my own business. And yeah, it's just been a really great experience. I go to an office now 4 days a week. It's a really small team. Everyone's very, very close, tight knit community. And so it's just, yeah, it's been a very interesting experience. Of course, there's definitely been a transition of going from working on my own to working in more of like a corporate style
Mm,
office, but it's definitely been one of the best decisions I've made, I think, for myself in
mm.
a long time.
Wow. That's so good. And there's so much in there. And one thing I was thinking about is how, like, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Maybe there's something that's like really glamorous to a lot of people, or even to yourself. Like you were talking about being able to travel everywhere and whatnot. Like, those are amazing things. And maybe that's how some people or why they start their business to begin with. But then realizing there could be something missing. Like, you don't know until you're on the journey, and then being able to be aware of that. And community. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like, we can't do anything alone. I know personally, like, that's why I I host retreats, or I do things intentionally in person, with my business, even though a lot of it's online, because I know the importance of the physical, the connection, the depth, the continuation of those relationships. And I mean, in reality, and we find them in different ways too. Like, you went and did this, and there's no right or wrong way. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, what are our values? And, you know, once you can figure that value out, how can you go create a life that is able to fulfill that?
Yeah, exactly. And I think I feel like I really started to put myself in like kind of like a funnel or like a tunnel vision type of mentality.
Mm,
Where because I had been working online for, I say so long, it was like 5.5 years, which is pretty long time. It was the only thing I really did professionally. I really started to have this mentality of like, this is the only thing I can do. And I think that was kind of a red flag for me when I really started thinking, oh, I'll never do anything else. it was just became this overwhelming sense of like, oh, I feel very trapped now. So I
Mm,
want to go explore, I want to go explore what else is out there. I want to figure out what is really important to me. Maybe I
mm,
think this is going to be a great thing, but then I end up hating it and then I come back
mhm.
and do my business again. Like
Totally.
you never really know, like you said, until you just go out and explore these avenues and give it a chance. And I think even if I stay in a corporate job for a year or 2 years or maybe 10 years, it's never something I think I would regret at the same time. I've already learned so much. And even I know if I walked away tomorrow, I would still return to my business as a better business owner,
Mhm.
from what I've learned at this experience as well.
Totally. Totally. Well, it's kind of cool too that you ended up in an environment and a space that is aligned with you already, like a coaching program. You had a lot of clients that was their realm, things like that. Do you think that was part of that decision of like, okay, it's still like in my wheelhouse. It's still, I connect with this. I kind of know this realm and now I can just use my gifts in a different way.
Yeah, I think so. I think, of course, I was very set on like, okay, I do want to get a job, but I think it made the transition a lot easier because when I was interviewing for the role and we were going over like the responsibilities, I really started to realize like, oh, I'm very qualified for this. And I think that was one of my fears going into applying for roles was, oh, I don't have any corporate experience. Like, are they going to get what I've been doing for the past 5 years? Are they going to see these skills as like, transferable skills?
Yeah.
Because I know that I can figure things out. And, I mean, I think it's a great skill to have built a business
Yeah.
to 6 figures, but that's very hard to translate into like a resume and like here are my XYZ skills. And so when I found this company and I was reading the job description, I was like, oh, wait, this sounds easy. Like this definitely sounds like something I could do. And just throughout the whole interview process as well, it just was such a good fit that it definitely felt like a sign, like it just made the decision so much easier of like, yes, this is the right decision. I'm going to give this a try. This is a great like first step in that direction.
Mm. What were some hard things? Because you did mention during that season when you and your boyfriend were traveling, and then you were like wanting community, but you were also stressed about things in your business. Every business owner goes through stress, and I mean, I 100%, I got stressed right now. But what were some of those things? Just to anybody listening, it's like, oh yeah, I'm not alone. I can be stressed out in that too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just like was a bit of the ongoing stress of growing the business. And I think the business landscape, especially as a service provider, I was a virtual assistant, then an online business manager, and then really niche down into like systems and systems builds. And I mean, 2020 through 2022, 23, 23 were great years in the online business space. If anyone was there, you would know. But I think 2024 was a really hard year for myself, like personally, with just like the community aspect, and we had to move and financially as well. And just the business was not doing as well either. And I really couldn't figure out why for such a long time. And I was still, I was just a lot of ups and downs, hitting high cash months, hitting low cash months, getting really burnt out very easily.
Mm,
And really, I just felt like I kept running into the same problem. Like I would, get a certain amount of clients, and then I would be like, oh, if I just got one or two more, like I would hit this goal. But it was
mm,
like I could never get past this like certain amount of clients or certain, cash month. And I was trying different ways to grow the business. I was really trying like, oh, should I do a course? Should I do a group program? Should I, test this out? And I was launching different things and trying out so many different things. And it just felt like nothing was working and nothing was clicking. And I was joining coaching programs and taking courses. And when I look back at that time, I really just realized like I was kind of chasing this, you know, feeling of like wanting to be fulfilled from the business. Like I was like, oh, I feel unfulfilled from the business. That was like what was actually happening. But I just kept thinking, oh, if I make more next month, if I change my business model, if I suddenly start making a course, if I run a group program, then that will fix everything, right?
mm,
fix how I feel about the business as a whole or about running my own business. And so it was just became this like hamster wheel cycle of, oh, I have to keep marketing, I have to keep working with clients because I have bills to pay and I need money to run the business and pay for all these programs and stuff that I joined. But I wasn't happy anymore. Like I didn't want to actually really be working and I didn't really enjoy what I was doing anymore. And so just, yeah, it became a very bad cycle of, chasing something that I was never gonna catch that
Hmm.
way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think that, and maybe it's both, but do you think that part of it was it your business now just wasn't aligned with where your heart was and where you want to go now? Maybe it was 5 years ago, but not anymore. And so you're chasing something that's not aligned, so you're unfulfilled. And also, if you're unfulfilled, it's like hard to get the aligned clients to come your way as well. Like, do you think that was a big part of it or
Yeah,
something
I
else?
mean, I definitely think I feel like a big part of it was just the alignment for
Mhm.
sure, and like really lacking a why anymore. And I used to think that was like so, I don't know, like I was like, oh, who cares why you started a business? Like, it doesn't really matter. You can just have a business and do whatever. But I think really over the past year when things got hard, I was really missing that reason of, oh,
Mm,
here's why I'm doing this. Like I'm doing this
mm,
for a specific reason. And when I first started my business, I started it because I was living abroad. I was living in Barcelona and I just met my partner and, COVID happened a few months later and I had a lot of whys. Like I was like, oh, I want to work online. I want to go see my partner. We were doing long distance. I want to be able to travel. Like there was so many reasons for me to have my business at that point.
mm,
But now I feel like the past, especially in 2024, I just kind of lost all those reasons where I was like, I live with my partner. I'd still love to travel, of course, but I don't need to necessarily be traveling all the time, like I could be. I'm also very happy to, just have more set days off, or I guess more in the sense I felt more called to like settle down a bit. Like I was like, oh, I want to be here. I want to build a community here. I want to like settle into my life here in the Netherlands. And so my whys all just kind of like disappeared. And then it was really like came down to the question of why are you doing this? Why this is already pretty hard. And if you're not in an alignment with what you're doing and you don't have that like driving force or that why behind you, I think it's really hard to continue to run a business or to try to grow a business.
mm-hmm. No, it's so good that you say that because I mean, I actually have a my specific mastermind right now that's for that reason because I just like believe so deeply that if like we're always evolving. We are evolving as humans. So our business evolves, right? Like it's
Absolutely.
living, it's breathing. We have real people we're working with, all that stuff. And if we're not honest with ourselves with where we're at now, like you said, or myself, I'm getting married, sometime soon. Later on, a year from now, my life could look totally different. And if I'm not evolving and then evolving my business for what actually matters, then of course we're going to be hating our lives and it's not going to work. The business won't work. And so to be able to align who we are with what we're created to do right now in this season and where we're going, rather than just trying to fit this whole thing that maybe was working and working really well, but doesn't work now and where you're going. I mean, yeah, I mean, encouraging to hear just because I know it happens to so many of us and it's happened to me and it's to your point. I think a lot of people don't think about or disregard the why. And I remember when I first started one of my first nonprofits, somebody recommended Start with Why, that one book with Simon Sinek.
Hmm.
And I just remember being like, oh wow, like that became the focal point of, oh, if I'm really gonna create this thing, I better have some why. Otherwise, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, I'm probably just going to want to burn it down anyway, you know?
Yeah. That's the thing, like it's gets hard. Like
It does.
business
It gets
can be
hard.
hard. And I
Mhm.
think really sometimes the only thing keeping you going is just like, oh, I really want this to work. Like I believe
Totally.
in myself and I really want this to work. And
Yeah.
yeah, when you don't have that anymore, it's like, yeah, what do you do?
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's been so nice I think really what I was craving, especially like right around the time I started applying for jobs, was just space to figure that out. And I felt like I didn't have that space while I was so wrapped up in trying to pay the bills, trying to keep, enough clients coming in and the full-time marketing and everything like that, where yeah, exactly like you said, my business just wasn't structured for me to necessarily take a ton of steps back from a lot of things. So I didn't have a lot of space to explore, oh, what can I change to make this, work for me?
Mm,
And I think that's one of the best things that has been nice about the past few months is I do now have this. I still do work on the side. Definitely still have clients and take on extra projects and stuff, but it's from such a different place now. It's from
yeah.
a place of, I really like your business. I really want to help you.
Yeah,
I am good at what I do.
totally.
So it's feels so much more like a choice than before. It
Mm,
felt like, I have to take on everything that comes my way.
I love that. Now it's like you can choose all the things that are really aligned, rather like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
clients, the projects, everything, rather than I need this, like the needing energy. I just have to do it just to be in survival or whatever. So that's, I mean, that's huge. And I think that's an amazing thing to be able to relieve yourself in that way to create the space for the new to come in. Um, I am curious since, I mean, since you are a master in systems, and I love that you also say in your profile that you make sales easy AF.
Yeah.
What have you found as small business owners? What does that mean to make sales easy AF? Or like in your new role that you're learning or that you're in your clients with and kind of in this pivot that you're in, what
Yeah,
does
I
that
think
even look like?
this is such a good question and something I've been thinking about like so much lately because now I am working in more of a sales role. And I mean, the nice thing about a 9 to 5 is you only have like one job. So it's like I really can only like focus on one thing and then I don't have, and I think that's something that's kind of, I have to stop myself from like trying to take on the responsibility of other people's jobs because I'm like, oh, I could do it. And then it's like, no, that's literally someone else's job. Like just let them
Just like
do it.
create more stuff because you,
Yeah, I'm like,
because why
okay,
not?
but bring it on. And it's like, no, just do your job and like chill out over there. Um, but I think what I've really been thinking about this is, making sales easy is I think it's a combination of, having a lot of clarity in your offer, right? Having a lot of clarity in what you're actually selling, and that creates a lot of confidence in what you're selling, but also having the systems to really back up what you're selling. So it's when you're selling something, yes, if you can be charismatic and you can sell a ton of things, but if you don't have the onboarding that's going to easily get people in the door, that's not going to be a lot of extra work on your end. It's going to make your sale harder because you're going to be thinking in the back of your mind, oh, I do want to make that sale, but I actually don't really feel like onboarding that person. Like that's going to be a lot of extra work that I have to like go on my laptop and copy the contract and like do all
Mm,
these admin things. So, and I think a lot of it ends up happening a bit unconsciously as well, where it's just a bit like a bit of just a block of, oh, I'm not going to check my DMs. I'm not going to respond to that person yet.
mm,
And then I think it's the same also with delivery. If you don't have the systems, the delivery systems where you know how your product is going to get delivered, or especially your service, if you're a service provider, then it can make sales feel very hard and just clunky because it's almost a subconscious block of, oh, already gonna worry about delivering my service to this person. And so I'm not gonna even really push that hard on the sale or try that hard on the sale to make it happen. So I think it's really a combination of like the front facing pieces and having very clear offers, having a very, confidence about being able to deliver those things. But I think a lot of that clarity and confidence comes from having the systems to back it up at the same time.
mm. This is to all you ladies who have that whisper, that knowing that you're made for more. You're made for more than where you have been going. You're not the same version of yourself that you were 5 years ago. You're the new version of yourself now. So you either have a business, you have a nonprofit, you're a leader in the world, and you know that you're pivoting. You know that you want to create more expansive goals. You desire to be a better version of yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you also want to create the business that's going to impact more lives, that is more aligned with you, whether that's creating more aligned offers, whether that is speaking, whether that's podcasting, whether that's creating a community, whether that's launching something, a book, whether that's something else that you just know that you've been maybe playing small or holding back in some sort of way, and it's ready. You're ready now. This Dreams to Reality Mastermind, I'm so excited because we have 6 months where we're diving in deep with a community of women that get it, a community of women that are all ready to go to that next level, that are there to grow, that are ready to learn, that are taking their business and their impact to the next level and in helping more people. This is about helping those that you really care about. Maybe you have a story that you are using for a purpose. You're taking your pain into the next level of your purpose. And what you can do is you can contact me. You can go to my Instagram, which is Jess Dahl, JessDahl with an underscore, or you can go to my website, jessdahl.com. And if any of this resonated at all, let's talk about it. Let's see if this is for you. I want to make sure that it's an aligned fit. So go ahead. Don't wait around. Your next level is waiting for you. This is your next chapter that you're ready to start in for your life. It's time to start with that blank slate. And let's do this. That's good. Yeah, that's good. I haven't really thought too much about the subconscious as far as if you don't have your systems in place, you may not want to do all the work. If somebody buys into your thing, even if you're doing all this marketing or whatever, and then they do, and you're like, oh, I got to do all this work. So subconsciously, maybe you're self-sabotaging the whole thing.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And that's like, I would have clients come to me and tell me, oh, yeah, like I'm ignoring my DMs right now because I just like, I could be, I could have a few more clients, but I'm avoiding it because I just don't want to like onboard them. Like it's going to be so much work. Like I don't really have time for this, or I don't even have time for a new client. And
Mm,
it just, I'm like, oh, that makes me, sad because that means you're not going to grow your business. And the thing with a business is you have to have sales to have a
mhm,
business. Like
mhm,
that's like the first thing you definitely need.
mhm,
And I think when it comes to setting up the systems and stuff, it doesn't have to be complicated, right? And that's always what I preach. Like you can have very simple systems
mhm,
in place, but when you do have them, it makes making those sales, especially those first, initial sales, if you're still practicing the marketing and the sales, it makes it so much easier and you feel like, oh, I'm a business owner. I'm a CEO. I have a service to deliver. I know how I'm going to do it. I know how I'm going to onboard you. I think it just, you come with a different energy than if you're
mhm.
just like, oh, please buy from me and I'll figure it out,
Yeah, totally. What would you say then is maybe three systems or simple things if somebody's just starting out and maybe they're feeling that overwhelm or they're feeling like I don't want to maybe take on more people because I don't have the capacity. What would be a few systems that people can start with that are pretty simple?
I think one of the first things I would definitely look at is, how are you delivering what you're selling? How are you delivering your offer? And is it somewhat systematic? Are you selling the same thing to everyone, or are you making up offers every other week and selling something new every other week? I think this is where business owners, kind of get themselves in trouble is when they start making up all these new offers all the time and they're like, oh, now I'm going to try to sell this and now I'm going to try to sell that. And I mean, I'm all for testing and trying things out, but once you find something that works and you feel like, okay, I know this is going to get results and my clients like it and I feel like good selling it, I would say really hone in on that one offer and focus on like systemizing that, right? Like how are you delivering it? Do you need to add templates? Do you need to add more structure to it? To your client communication, to is it an online course? If it's one-on-one coaching, how can you maybe add some automations to ease up on the admin work on your side? So really just cleaning up that, because I think that creates a lot of clarity in your offer whenever you're actually pitching your offer and you're selling your offer. Because when you have your offer more systemized, then when someone asks you about it, you can say, oh yeah, here's exactly how it works. You're going to do this, we're going to do this. And of course, if you work one-on-one with people, you don't have to systemize, oh, call one is going to be this, call two is going to be this. But maybe you have that three-phase process that you're taking everyone through. and you can have some structure around each of those things. I would say definitely start there, because when you can deliver more systematically, you can also just have a bigger capacity because your brain knows this is what's coming. Your brain feels safe, like, oh, I know this is what we're going to do and this is how it's going to work with this client. So it's okay to like have more clients in the door. And you're also able to just better estimate what is your capacity, right?
Sure.
If you have only one-on-one calls, well, you can look at a calendar and be like, okay, what, 10 one-on-one calls a week, that's 20 clients a month if
Mm-hmm.
you do every other week. So it's just a bit easier to estimate those things. And then I would say the second big piece to look at after that is your onboarding, of course. So even if it's just a simple pay with a checkout link, send a contract, get access to whatever materials they need, just automating that payment process as much as possible, the contract sending, just all of the little admin details. So where you could just have the link in your notes app and you can open your Instagram and someone say, "Oh, I want to join your mastermind." And you say, "Great, here's the link. Once you pay, you'll get all the onboarding materials." It's just such a relief. Like it just takes so many steps out of that process.
Mm-hmm. For those that don't even know where to start with that, what would be a few tools with an onboarding process, for example? Like I know I've used like Dubsado, and there's so many different tools, for example, but what would be some that you actually have found you really like or your clients really like for onboarding?
Yeah, I think for onboarding, I know for myself and a lot of my clients, we use ThriveCart, which is a checkout page tool.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that tool because it's very easy to build automations around. It's a one-time payment, so you just pay once and then you have lifetime access. And so you don't have like a monthly payment, which is also very nice. And it's great for businesses where if you have multiple types of offers. So if I think most of my clients that use this offer one-on-one and masterminds and courses and digital products. Like you can really do all of those offers within ThriveCart and have those checkout pages. And then I would say if you are mainly just focusing on like one-on-one or coaching specifically, and you want more of like an in-depth, client experience, something like Dubsado or Honeybook, or there's another tool called Moxie that's very similar. And these are more like tried and true CRM tools where you're going to get invoicing and contracts and call scheduling and forms, and you can really build out a more personalized, one-on-one client onboarding experience with that.
Mm, love that. And then what would you tell people if they're in a space of growth and expansion in their business? What would be some systems like, they already have something that's working really well, but that now they need something to help them with the next level and they feel stuck or scattered? And what helps go to the next level with systems, you think?
I think one thing that gets overlooked a lot that helps a lot is to just start documenting what you're doing and documenting your system. So like creating those SOPs, just really starting to write down here's all of the systems that I'm doing, because I feel like when people want to go to the next level, it's not necessarily about like building out an entirely new system. A lot of times it's just about upgrading the one you already have, and it's very hard to upgrade something that you can't visually see what's going on. It's hard to upgrade something that lives in your mind. Like you're
Totally.
like thinking about it and you're like, wait, I can barely think about how all these things connect. I just know they all do because I'm the one that made it. And so I love using a tool like Whimsical, which is like a whiteboard tool, to just start documenting, okay, here's what's actually happening. Are there leaks? Like, is there any areas in this process that, need to be cleaned up? Are my tools all working for, what I need to do now and what I want to do within the next 6 months or a year? It's hard to analyze that just in your mind, right? And I think especially if you have access, if you have a lot of tools for some reason, maybe then it's time to do an audit and look at, okay, what can we actually simplify and bring all together just to make everything run a bit more smoothly.
Mm,
Because really, the next step in growing your business and expanding is probably going to be hiring help. And it's very hard to bring on other people when you don't have these documented systems and processes in place, because then you have to basically take everything that is in your brain and give it to someone else
Hmm.
somehow.
Yeah.
And that's just can be easily become a mess.
I actually had something today with I usually have my assistant do something, and today I was like doing whatever it was, and it was about an hour of me trying, and I was so frustrated. So I like messaged and I was like, "Wait, where's our SOP on this? Like you got to create
Yeah.
that soon because it's an emergency."
Because I need to be able to do this actually.
And I don't know what you're doing. Yeah, totally. So
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, it's so true. It's like if somebody comes in or if you have to do something really quick or whatever, it's like there's some things that are working, but it would be just easier if you track them. I like that.
Yeah, and I think it's just about like simplifying. Like I think as my clients really start to grow, that's what we mainly look at is like how can we simplify this as much as possible because simple works. Like the more complex things get, the more things that can break. Like you don't need crazy complex systems to scale. You just need something that works really well and can work on repeat for an infinite number of times, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the simpler it is, the easier it is for someone else to learn it. And that's kind of the goal, right? As you grow as a CEO, you want to like let go of a lot, as many responsibilities as you potentially can. And you want to focus on the one thing that you want to do, which is, serve your clients or whatever your why is for starting your business. That's probably what you want to be focusing on. So it's really like, how can you make everything else just as easy and simple as possible so other people can do it or automation can do it, or even adding like AI into your business to make it, even more effective. Like I've been really into that lately, is looking at that as well. So I think there's so many different things you can do, but it starts with, figuring out what's actually going on already, and yeah, looking at how you can just simplify it as much as you can.
Actually, that's a good point. I want to talk about the AI thing for a minute. So, what's been some interesting either tools or things you've been playing with? Because I mean, the reality is AI just is happening, and if business owners don't catch on to use it as a tool, then they're going to be left behind or doing way too much work. So to use it in an effective way, what's been some things for you that have been fun, interesting, or actually helping?
Yeah, I mean, I really think with AI, I have developed this mindset of using AI to like amplify what I'm already doing versus trying to use AI to like replace someone or something that I'm doing. And I think that mindset has really changed how I use AI and what I use it for. And it's made me really enjoy it. Like I love using it. I use it pretty much every day. I think I always have it open on my laptop, even if it's just a bit of like oh, I'm thinking about this. Like, what do you think about this? Kind of like a thought partner. But as far as like tools and how I use it a lot for my business, I love a tool right now called Poppy AI. They are a great tool, and I like it because it's kind of like a whiteboard tool, and you can actually like drop in YouTube videos, you can drop in TikToks, Instagram Reels, links, videos, files. Like you can pretty much put anything on the board, and then you can add like a little chat widget, and you can connect everything to the chat widget or whatever you want to connect. And so you have a bit more of a customized experience of AI. So you're basically telling the chat, here's what I want you to look at, these 5 things, and then, go look at those. And then based on those 5 things, I want you to help me write Instagram posts or help me write emails. So, for example, one way I use this tool is when I was posting regularly on my podcast. I had, an email that went out every time the podcast published, Instagram reel, all the marketing materials. So I just had like little folders of previous, captions for previous emails. And then I would just pop the episode into Poppy and be like, okay, like write a new email. And it would just come out like, same format, same vibe, same voice, just updated with the new episode. So I've really been liking that tool, and I'm also an affiliate of them. So if you want to check it out, you can get a discount, Systems with Sam, for $25 off.
That's great.
Um, but yeah, I think that's one of my favorites. And then of course, just, good old ChatGPT,
Hmm.
Claude, I also love as well. Just for more kind of random thoughts or writing, like random writings and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I've been meaning to check out some different things. I have somebody that told me about, I forgot what it's called. Dang it. I took a note. Lovable, maybe. But
Oh, yeah, probably. I've used
okay.
that as well.
Have you? Have you created some sort of tool?
I tried, yeah. I was like playing around with trying to create a micro tool
Mhm.
with it, which the tool itself, Lovable, is very, very cool. So if you have an idea for like a tech tool or something you want to create with code, I think it's a great resource and a great tool for that. But I couldn't get it to work for me personally.
I haven't played around with it yet, but I'm
I
like,
gave
okay,
up
I want to
very
utilize
quickly.
some of this stuff and see
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah, it's cool, but I gave up very quickly. So I was like, I think I did like one afternoon, and then I was like, okay, well, that was fun, and maybe another
Sure, if you
time.
want it to work, it could
Yeah,
get there, but
I would. Yeah, exactly. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not that like dedicated to this.
that's so funny. What have you found business owners or maybe your clients in the past 5 years have, what do they get most overwhelmed about?
Such a good question. I think I think really the biggest thing is, what to do next.
Hmm.
So, and I think a lot of it is, oh, we need to get into this flow. We need to launch this, create this offer, do
Mhm.
XYZ, always be moving forward. And I feel like a lot of times clients can easily get stuck on problems that are maybe not really problems or just, and not in like a self-sabotaging way, but there are so many different hats you have to wear as a business owner. And so it can just sometimes clients are like, oh, we really need to focus on this. And now we need to focus on this. And next week we need to focus on this. And
Mhm.
it's just too many moving pieces at once instead
Mhm.
of just focusing on, here's our goal.
Mhm.
What's going to get us to this goal? It's probably doing the same thing over and over and over again for forever
Mhm.
until we hit that goal. And I think there's just a lot of this shiny object syndrome or the need to try to be doing more than what's actually needed.
Mhm.
Um, to just fill the space,
Mhm.
and what I've also learned with my own business is that, a boring business is a business that runs really, really well.
Mhm.
Like those are the most successful businesses. Like one of my clients has an insanely profitable course business, and she launches one time a year. Like we don't do anything all year in terms of launching, and all we really do is just like tweak stuff behind the scenes. And she posts content consistently. Like that's what she does. She's an influencer. She posts very consistent content. Sometimes here and there, she creates like a new random resource or like a very small digital product, or we set up like a new little funnel. But it's not like we're launching every other month. And she does really, really well. And I think a lot of that is just due to she has this ability to just like let the business run and
Yeah.
like let it be good and let it do its thing and let it continue to just grow kind of on its own. And I've had other clients who we were doing it was like every single week a different focus, a new thing. Oh, I have this new idea. And of course you do need that creativity, and like that's one of the great things about owning a business that's yours is you can do that. You can launch whatever you want and do whatever you want. But I think it also gets in the way of growth a lot of the
Mhm.
time,
Mhm.
because you're just starting over on
Yeah,
repeat. You're just
totally.
constantly starting over. And I think that's really hard sometimes for clients to accept. And that's also a hard conversation that I've had to have with clients as well of like, we need to focus on like one thing right
Mhm.
now. And this idea sounds great, but like let's table it for six
Yeah,
months and then see how we feel then. Like, let's
totally.
just chill.
Yeah, it's true because as the creator, the visionary, you see so much and it's like, ooh,
Yeah.
and then this, and then this, and then this. It's like, okay, those are all really great, but let's hang here. And I mean, that's me
I
100%.
mean, guilty of
Yeah.
it as
Yeah.
well, like for sure. Like I am also guilty of it, but I think it's something that I've become way more aware of watching, but
Same.
from the behind the scenes,
Yeah.
watching my clients do it, and it's made me more aware of myself doing it as well. Of like, oh,
100%.
Okay. Is this really the next thing, or is this just like a little distraction?
Totally. That's good. So now with your new position and in the sales, what kind of things are you learning either about yourself or you're learning about I don't know, sales psychology or like people? Yeah, I would just love to hear some interesting things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm learning a lot about people. I'm on a lot of calls every day. So I think that's something that's been really great for just communication skills, talking with a lot of different types of people. I'm also in a very new industry. So for context, I work like my company sells MBA admissions consulting. So
Hmm.
what that means is we, coach people who want to apply to Harvard, Stanford, Wharton for MBA programs, which is something I knew literally zero about. And so that's been really interesting, learning a new industry and also really learning a lot about different types of jobs. I talk with so many types of people with all kinds of different jobs and in all industries that I never really knew anything about. So I think that's also been very, very interesting. And just opened my eyes a lot of like what's possible out there in this kind of whole new world.
Hmm.
And I think in terms of like skills as well, it's nice seeing how a bigger business is run behind the scenes. What systems they have, what their team looks like, and what everyone actually does on the team. So that's been super interesting.
Hmm.
And yeah, I am going to dive more into like sales psychology here soon. I'm actually going to be taking a NLP
Hmm.
certification course
Hmm.
at the end of the year, which I'm really excited about that my company is paying for. So that's also very nice,
Totally.
nice perk. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think it's yeah, got a lot more confidence, I would say as well, with just like learning how to be more confident on sales. And I think asking like the hard questions. I think a lot of times on sales, we kind of beat around the bush a lot of like, oh, well, you think about it and, let me know. But I think it's been a good exercise in just asking like kind of the awkward questions of like, okay, well, what are you thinking? Like, tell me now.
Hmm.
What can I clarify? Like, what are you hesitating on?
Hmm.
And I think we don't do that a lot in our own businesses, or I definitely didn't do that
Hmm.
on discovery calls very much. And I think now it's definitely something I will take over of just making sure that I'm communicating clearly with the person I'm on the discovery call with, but also that I'm able to, like, they're able to be honest with me and be direct with me, and I can, hopefully answer any unclear things that pop up.
Hmm. What are people, I guess, what are some objections or what are some things that maybe are roadblocks for people with, they're coming to you for something specific. And then, yeah, what are some objections that maybe they have?
I think one of the biggest ones is price, which is kind
Mm.
of funny because we're one of the highest charging firms in the industry, and we charge like a lot more than a lot of our competitors. And that's kind of our thing. And it's something we don't like apologize for. It's something we don't back down on. And that has been such a good lesson for me as well of just pricing yourself of what you think your service is worth,
Mm.
right? Like, even if people are priced 50% lower than you, it's like, okay, well, here's how we bring value. Here's why our price is the way it is. Like, if that's too much for you, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it's not a good fit. And I think this mindset has been very interesting for me, and also just an interesting objection to deal with because this isn't now an objection I deal with all the time of, oh, well, the price it's more it's out of my budget or it's more than I expected. And it's like, okay, well, here's why our price is the way it is. I understand it's more than, you expected or it's more than our competitors. And, if that's not a good fit, then that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to work with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been something that I'll definitely also take with me
Yeah.
on my own
Free,
pricing as
huh?
well of like, oh, I can actually just price whatever I want and not apologize for it and not have to really explain it necessarily or yeah like go down or discount or something
Mhm.
and just pricing is what it is
Yeah.
you get to set it, it's your
Yeah.
business.
I know. It's kind of like going to a restaurant. I think about that. You go to a restaurant, you go to a grocery store, you go to a clothing
Yeah, the
store,
restaurant is
and
a good
like you
example.
go
Yeah.
to buy it and you're like, oh, this is a little more. It's like, well, put it back on the rack, or sorry,
Yeah.
you can eat an appetizer, or I don't know, go buy milk instead of, I don't know.
Yeah.
It
No, I
makes
mean
me think about that. And
it's
then
such
it's
a
just
good
funny.
analogy. Yeah. Yeah, because it's true. It's like, you go to you can if you want a burger, one of my old coaches used to always say this. She's like, if you're craving a burger, you can either go to McDonald's or you can go buy a $40 burger from like the steakhouse.
Yeah,
The choice is up to you and what kind of burger you want, but you have options and you can decide like which burger basically you want to be.
totally. I love
I was
that.
like,
If you could tell your younger self anything, what would that be?
mm, I mean, I think it's such a good question. I think I would say, trust your intuition.
Mm,
I think that's something I ignored for a long time because I just didn't think. I think also when I was younger, I was in a lot of survival mode. So it's kind of like your intuition is a bit irrelevant when you're just out there trying to survive. But I think I would really tell myself like slow down, listen to your intuition, trust your intuition, and yeah, don't stay places longer than you need to stay just because you feel bad or feel guilty.
hmm
Um, as well. Like when you know it's time to move on, trust that. Trust
hmm
that you can take the next step.
I love that. And if you could do anything differently in your journey, what would that be?
Hmm. I don't know. It's always so hard to say because I think I'm, of course, happy with where I am now. But I think, if anything, I wish I would have tried harder when I was younger. I think I was or I mean, I am very naturally smart. I was very good at school, like naturally, one of the lucky ones with that. And yeah, I didn't try that hard. And I always look back and I'm like, oh, what would have happened if I would have like actually tried, like actually put my whole effort into it? And how would that have changed my life? Would it actually be any different? Would I have gone to a better university? Would I have gotten more scholarship money? Would I have picked a different, job? Um, yeah, I think that's always something if I could change anything, I would want to know what would happen if I would have tried harder when I was younger.
That's good. And what would you tell someone if they wanted to go after their dreams or their desire, their purpose, or what they're trying to pursue? What would you tell them?
I mean, I would just ask, like, why are you waiting? Like, what are you waiting for, honestly? Because realistically, whatever you're waiting for it's not going to change anything, I think. I feel like there are so many times like I waited to make a decision, even though I knew this is what I wanted the next decision to be. Even with something like, getting a full-time job, I waited a long time to make that decision. And part of that was like logistically because we were moving and traveling and stuff like that. Um, but I also think, what was I really waiting for? Like I could have figured it out along the way. And I think people don't give themselves enough credit for being able to figure things out because like we said at the very beginning, we're adaptable. Humans are naturally like resilient, adaptable people. And I think you have to trust yourself that if this is something you really want, there's not going to be a perfect time. And you just have to start now and see what happens.
Mm,
And yeah, figure it out as you go.
yeah, that's good. And then how can people find you?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Systems with Sam. And yeah, you can join my email list. I'm sending out some emails, behind the scenes updates every once in a while as well. Yeah, basically everything is Systems with Sam, systemswithsam.com. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
I love it. Okay, everybody go follow her. Do you have any last words that you want all the listeners to know?
No, I mean, thank you so much for having me on. This was super great. If you have any questions or anything you want to share with me, my DMs are always open. I always reply, so definitely let me know.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sam. Everybody, please go follow her. She is amazing.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Wasn't that episode with Sam awesome? I just adore her and how real she is and the ability to be able to pivot and to be able to get real and honest with herself. And that's the reality as a business owner. That's the reality as a human. That's how we stay aligned with who we are and what we're created to do on this planet. And if you are a female, if you're a woman who has a business, who has bigger dreams than where you are now, you have something so special. And at the same time, you are in a season where the things that were working for you are no longer working and you desire to expand in new ways. Maybe that means that you want to now add in and start a podcast or write a book or create newer programs or create a community or courses or speaking or who knows, just whatever it is that is on your heart, this is the place to do it. The Dreams to Reality Mastermind. I cannot wait. We have another one that's going to be coming up. So, what I want you to do, if you are a heart led woman, you are purpose driven, and you desire to be in community and go to the next level personally and professionally, I want you to send me an email. You can go to jess@jessdahl.com. That is my email. You can go to dahl.com. That is my website. And you could also check out the page on the website. So please send me a message. I cannot wait. Here to connect with more of you purpose driven women. And yes, this is the place that you need to be. All right. We'll see you at the next one.